Welcome to the Mental Dimes NCAA basketball podcast. My name is Shea Irish, and today I want to give a warm welcome to Tyree Boykin. He's a grad transfer that just recently signed with Appalachian State, comes from Union University in Jackson, Tennessee, Division II All-American last season, career leading scorer for them, and just a big-time scorer in general. Appreciate you joining me today, Tyree.
Man, thanks for having me.
Of course, anytime. So let's flash back. We'll start coming out of high school. So obviously you go the D2 route, go to Union. But coming out of the senior year, did you have any D1 interests, or was it you kind of knew from the get-go you're going to be a D2 player?
Right. So back in high school, I dealt with a couple injuries back in high school. So I missed a lot of AAU. It just so happened that it landed during the AAU season. So I played AAU going into my senior year. So I had a really good AAU showing for that last summer. And then I had some D1 interest going into my senior year. So I had ended up having a little knick-knack injury that happened the second game of my senior year. And, you know, all the D1s that were on me, they kind of went their separate ways. So that's kind of what happened. That was kind of the narrative for, you know, kind of the rest of the season. I had some pretty big time JUCOs and, you know, some other schools on me, but, you know, I didn't get really that kind of attention that I wanted, that I was looking for. So at the very end of, not the very end, this is August, going into my freshman year of college is when Coach Niven called me from Union. So yeah, I had some looks, but it just wasn't really what I wanted. So he called me out of nowhere, got me up on a visit. I committed on the spot, and you know, I would spend my next 5 years of my life there.
Yeah. So that obviously worked out in your favor. But as you went there, was it a goal in mind to eventually make your way up to the D1 level that you're at now?
See, in high school, you know, it was a difficult process mentally for me because I knew how good I was. I knew the caliber player that I was, but you know, you got to imagine, like, with me knowing that, and I'm seeing all of my friends and the guys that I work out with around me getting that opportunity, that man, something just slipping, you know what I mean? It kind of fell through the cracks for me. So seeing those guys do that, still being happy for them, but at the same time still feeling like, man, like I should be here, but it's not happening for me. You know, that was a difficult situation to be in. So when I went to Union, man, I was just grateful, you know, that Coach Niven just believed in me when, you know, not too many other people did, and he gave me the shot. So, you know, I went in and, you know, I played well, and, you know, I felt, you know, indebted to him because he showed the love to me, so I showed my loyalty to him.
Yeah. So you definitely played well. You started out as freshman of the year in your conference, averaging like 12 points per game. And this question is from my co-host Trevor. So you averaged right around 12 points per game as a freshman. And then coming into your sophomore year, you just blow up. You average like just under 24 points per game. So you double your scoring average. So he's asking, what did you do in between your freshman and sophomore season that made you improve so quickly and take that leap to become such a great player?
Right. So really for me, it was two things. One was just getting in shape. I got in the best shape. That, man, I could run all day. I was in the best shape that I could possibly be in. But really, from a basketball standpoint, not too much really changed in terms of, you know, being in the gym. And I've been working my butt off. That's how I got here in the first place, you know. So I've always had to work ethic. I've always worked hard, but it was just a mental switch that I had, you know. Like I felt like it was a, you know, I went D2. A lot of people saying like, hey, especially after I won the freshman year, it was like, hey, you're a D1 guy, you should have been D1. And a lot of those guys that were on me that, you know, kind of went their separate ways during my senior year, they came back around. And I'm like, nah, man, I'm rocking with Union. I'm rocking with my coach here, you know. So yeah, it was kind of like, okay, this was cool. The freshman year was cool, but now it's like, okay, what's the next step that you could take?
Right.
Like, what's the next level that you can get to? So I just switched my mind to, okay, what we're gonna do next. So that's where I came out, and you know, it was just a mind switch. It wasn't so much I spent more hours in the gym. I spent a lot of hours in the gym already. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like I didn't. You know, it's just a mental switch. There's a competitive. Actually, absolutely. Like it was just a mental switch that, I just turned it up a notch, another level.
For sure. So this is another one of his questions. So that sophomore season, you dropped 48 points in, I think it was your second game of the year against Spring Hill. So he wants to know what it felt like to drop nearly 50 to start. And then he wants to know also, how many shots did you take once you were at 48? Like, were you close to getting that 50 or you get subbed out right away?
Perfect time to tell this story. Okay, so I had no idea. Like I was in the zone. I was, when you mentally locked in, like you I'm just going, I'm going. So
for sure,
it's my coach, Sean Blackburn. He was a GA at the time, right? So I come out and I airball my first 2 shots. So I airballed, and then I was like, man, like, okay, what's going on? And then I started getting to the basket a little bit. Boom, when I looked up, I went on kind of like a 6-0 run by myself. Boom, they called a timeout. I'm like, okay. So we came back out. I went on another one. So I look up, I got like 14, 15 before the first media hit. So they called timeout. So Sean come to me, he's like, hey, you hooping, like, go ahead and get 30. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I go out, I'll go on another one. So I think they didn't score the game correctly, but I think I had close to 30 by halftime.
Oh my God.
So he was like, hey, man, go ahead and get 40. So by the time the second half hit, I'm like, okay, I'm still in my zone. And at halftime, my teammates are going crazy. I'm like, look, the game is not over. Like, y'all, like, chill out. Like, we still got a whole nother half to play. Like, man, you got 30 right now. You killing them. Hey, look, we got to win this game. We can talk about this later. So Sean see me, I go on another kind of run. He look up and say, hey, man, go get 50 then. So for some reason, they were using some different kind of method to stat the game. Like a person wasn't doing it. I think they were using like some sort of technology. So by the end of the game, it said I had 35.
30.
But right, so my coaches, everybody was tripping. I was like, yeah, I don't know about that. So they subbed me out for the last maybe 3 or 4 minutes of the game when I had 48 already.
Oh no.
So he goes back and he stats the game. My GA, Sean, he texted me out of nowhere. He said, hey.
Watching like film afterwards?
He said, hey, you had 48. He said, I was 18 for 26.
Oh, that's efficient.
And I was like, my coach, I told, right. So when my coach found out, he was like, so the crazy thing is the record. So Union went D2 in, I think, the early 2010s. So before that, they was NAIA. So the record was for the school was 49.
Oh, you just missed that too. Man, that's tough. That's tough.
I was sick. I told
myself I was going to stay in.
Man, I was like, man, I was sick. But I'm like, hey, oh well, it happens.
That's still cool though. But so you had quite the career there. Obviously the 48-point game, leading scorer all time there, if I'm correct. You're All-American, Conference Player of the Year, your last season. Like I said before, Conference Freshman of the Year, your first season. Just when you look back at the time at Union, what would be the thing you're most proud of? Is it an accolade? Is it a memory? Like, what does Union mean to you?
Man, everything. Honestly, like it's like I said, like I really didn't have a place to go that I felt comfortable with going straight out of high school. Because I mean, I was a pretty good student. Like I didn't feel I didn't have to go. You know what I mean? My grades and stuff were, I think I had like a 3.5, 3.6 in high school. So I didn't really want to go JUCO. And then I hear a lot about the environment and that kind of stuff. I'm like, so when I went there, like I said, like it was just me just being grateful. And it was just a community of people that, they really just wrapped their arms around me. Really, like, man, it's some of my best friends and some of my mentors that I still talk to every day now, are from Union. Like, they really just embraced me and showed me a lot of love and, looked out for me. So, and it was a place that I was able to go and not only become a better basketball player and take my game to another level, but also grow in my faith, which was another huge deal for me. So, man, it's just so many emotions. That's why it was so hard to leave. Like, it's so many emotions that come with that. But man, just grateful for, the opportunity to be there, the people I got to meet, and the relationships that I established, I'll be able to carry on for the rest of my life. So.
Yeah. So one more question, then we'll transition into your recruitment, to go to Appalachian State. But last question for the Division II level. I mean, I follow it a lot. I follow D1, D2, D3. So I know even down to the D3 level, there's some guys that can really play. D2 guys, you guys don't have the big TV contracts and the exposure of D1 players. But can you tell anyone that's watching this just how good a basketball D2 really is?
Hey, like it's like that's what I was just talking to my teammates the other day. It's crazy you say that because man, it's D2 basketball is some serious hoops, man. Like
yeah,
people don't really understand like those are some serious hoops. Like, and there's a lot of guys that are really good that can really play. You know what I mean? They can play on the next level, but they just, didn't have the exposure or they didn't have the opportunity that, like we're playing against, like I'm playing against guys like this a guy, he transferred from New Mexico State, he transferred from so like, it's not like you're just playing with, D2 guys, like these guys that's transferred from all over the place that, this, that, or the other happened that they ended up here.
Yeah.
So it's guys that are really good and there's guys that's really hungry. And, it's like I say all the time, like, man, it's some guys that, that are solid players on the D1 level that people think like, oh man, like I can just come to the D2 level and I'm just about to go average 20 or something.
Yeah. It's not like
yeah,
that.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Like you got another thing coming. Like you go look back at the All-American team. There's all those guys weren't averaging 20.
Mm-hmm.
All-Americans.
Mm-hmm.
All those guys were not averaging 20. Like it's some really, really good basketball and the coaching is really like they need to really be shouting out the coaches too, because it's some really good, I played against some really good schemes that, man, that take you out of things, they give you different looks, and man, that's a hard level of basketball to play at. So, like you have to be really skilled.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be really skilled to play D2 basketball. It's not like, oh man, like you got to get a whole bunch of wide open shots. You got to get I can't like when people tell me like, hey man, I'm about to go D2, I'm about to go average.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see.
Like, you don't know how hard that is.
I mean, you've done it, but you just look at guys like Duncan Robinson on the Heat. Like he started at D3 level, I'm pretty sure, and worked his way up D1. Now he's in the NBA. So like, it's not impossible for a guy from D2 to work up to that level and make the NBA or make overseas. You know what I mean? A lot of guys, they don't get the exposure of a Division I player, but like you said, it's tough. You're not just going to go there and be a star immediately just because you're from the D1 level.
Right. You don't work like that.
Yeah. So let's transition to the D1 level now. You're committed to Appalachian State. Obviously, I see the background you're there right now. Probably get some workouts in and stuff.
Yeah.
So you said when we hit on your high school recruitment, you said you had some D1s, and then obviously you had a couple knick-knack injuries. So now you enter the transfer portal as a grad transfer. You played 5 years there, right? You had an injury at Union. Yeah. So you're an experienced. You're probably 23, 22 at least.
23. Yep.
So what was the recruitment like when you put your name in the transfer portal? Is there a ton of schools that hit your line immediately?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. Like it was like everybody kind of told me, they were like, hey, like, cause I really wasn't looking to play college basketball anymore. Like for me, like this was 100% just a basketball decision for me. Like I already had my degree, I had to start working towards my MBA and that kind of thing. So like education wise, I was fine. So I was looking to go pro.
Okay.
The problem with that is like we were just talking about, like Division II guys, they still don't get the opportunity to look, no matter how good you are, like they still don't get the same look. So like I had some people that I was talking to that's in my corner that's like, hey, like it like sometimes it really doesn't matter. Like you can go kill this guy, but man, these guys got connections. Like this guy has. You got to think like how you gonna compete with a guy like John Calipari in this guy's corner.
Right. That's
like you can go. You see what I'm saying? You can go drop 30 on him right now, but he's still gonna get in the draft. He's still gonna get taken care of because he has that behind him.
Even at like the mid-major level D1, I mean, if you're on a team that doesn't make the NCAA tournament, you're probably not going to get a ton of exposure. There's guys all across the country that could, be drafted, but they don't. Like Max Asmus from Oral Roberts a couple years ago, he blows up in the tournament. If they never made the NCAA tournament, he's probably not on the radar for the NBA at all. And he's, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right. So that type of thing. So, with me making the jump to come D1, it was wholeheartedly, that was the reason I was making that decision, because I want to give myself the best chance to be able to play on the next level. Yeah. So when I jumped in the portal, everybody was telling me it was going to be crazy, but I wasn't prepared for how crazy it got. Like, I probably talked to over the entire process, and I was only in there for like 2 weeks. I probably talked to over 40 schools, like
Wow.
40 D1s, and it's different because like what was so crazy is like D2, you have on average, you have your head coach, you have an assistant coach, and you have a GA. That's how most coaching staffs are. But D1, it's like, man, you have head coach, head assistant, 3 or 4 assistant coach, director of basketball operations, director of recruit. You know what I mean? So
yeah, for sure.
Every staff, I'm talking to 5 or 6 people on every staff. So multiply that by 40 schools, that's a headache. You know what I mean? So I'm literally like from sun up to sundown, I'm on the phone all day, every day. And I would say for people like go in a portal, like if you don't know what you're looking for, specifically what you're looking for, there's a lot of people that are really good at recruiting that you can mess around and be in a bad situation because they're going to tell you everything you want to hear. Everybody's going to tell you what you want to hear. Obviously, they want you to come to their school, but you know, if you don't know exactly what you're looking for or what you want to get out of it, man, it's a headache.
Yeah,
it's a headache. So
I was gonna say I played at the D3 level in New York, and there was a head coach and 2 assistants. That was it. So I can't imagine talking to 5, 6 coaches from every school. It's crazy. Yeah. So what was it ultimately that made Appalachian State the best fit? I'm sure, like you said, 40 schools reaching out. I'm sure there was a couple other schools on your radar, but what was it with the coaching staff there that really made you want to go to the Mountaineers?
Right. So this is probably after my first week. I'm probably a week and a half into the portal. So now I'm at my brother's game, and Coach Kurtz called me out of nowhere. So he calls me, and he's like, "Hey, look," he just got straight to it. He's like, "Hey, look, I'm a head coach at App State." He said, "Look, I'm not trying to waste your time. I know it's probably, telling how many coaches talking to you right now." He was like, "Hey," he said, he put it to me like this. He said, if I didn't think that we needed you as bad as you needed us, I wouldn't be calling you right now." So instantly that caught my attention. I'm like, okay, I mean, that's the first time I heard that one. So I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna see as it say. So we go on, we talk, we talk about style of play, we talk for a long time. Next thing you know, we on the Zoom call. I'm like, okay. So we get on the Zoom call. I got my parents in there with me. So we talk on the Zoom. The Zoom went amazing. The Zoom was great.
Okay.
So he was like, "So what do you think about coming on a visit?" Like, why not? Let's go on the visit. Let's see. Man, I get here on the visit. Boone is one of the most beautiful places that I've ever been. Like, I've never been to North Carolina, let alone the mountains for that. So,
I've only been I think once. I never went to Appalachian State, so I can't. But it's definitely deep in the woods, right?
Yeah, man, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's great food. It's great people, and that's really what ultimately attracted me here because like the people were great. And, like I said, like I had one shot at this thing. I only have 1 year left, so when I came into this situation, that was a big thing for me. It was a relationship piece because these people are going to be the ones in my corner that's going to push for me when I get done with this year. I got to know that these guys, that we have this connection, and we got this relationship that I know I can trust you, that, hey, you're going to be, reaching out to people and getting people and getting eyes on me, that kind of thing. Like, and that's who the whole coaching staff is. And I can tell you, I talked to every single coach on that coaching staff every day until I came on my visit and committed and signed. I committed and signed in Boone.
Oh, yeah.
Like I got it done in Boone. But like I talked to Coach Kearns with the first thing every morning, it's a text from him.
Yeah.
Every night, FaceTime. Every single night. And he said, "Look, I'm not wavering. Like, we're gonna get this thing done."
Need you a priority from the start.
Absolutely. So I'm like, man, this is like the kind of love and stuff that I was feeling. I'm like, this is exactly everything I was looking for. And then, man, they just have a whole plan for me personally. Like they have a plan for, how they're going to help me, achieve my goals, and how they're going to help me develop, how they're going to help me get better. And I'm like, man, like it's rare that you find like great people out here that's really going to look out for you and really take care of you, in such a short time. Like we only got 1 year together. It's not like I'm a freshman, but for them to really show me that love and really, and I get up here and they do everything that they said they're going to do, and continue to show me that and continue to, watch film with me and work out with me and that kind of stuff, man. it's a blessing, honestly. It's a blessing, and I love being here.
No doubt. So you've never been to North Carolina, but were you familiar with the program at all? They made the NCAA tournament 2 seasons ago. Been pretty competitive in the Sun Belt for a while. Did you know any of the players, or did you have any connections with the program before they reached out to you?
Right. No, I really had no idea. Like I was just kind of, I've heard of App State. I saw that they wanted something else, stuff like that, but like I wasn't really in tune with everything. And then, like, the portal was so crazy that like it was hard for me to lock in on one person or one school. You know what I mean? So for them to, man, I can tell you, they did a wonderful, amazing job of recruiting. They're really, really, really good at that. So like it wasn't really on my radar at the time, but man, after having conversations with them and seeing the culture, which is huge for me. Like on my visit, I got to meet guys that played here a year ago. Something I talked on FaceTime with a guy that's playing overseas right now that played here like 2 or 3 years ago. Just that's rare. You really don't see kind of stuff like that. Like that you got alumni guys that played for coach that's gonna call me and vouch for him and tell him that, hey, like he's gonna take care of you. Like you're in good hands. You know what I mean? Like you don't really see that happen. Even at some high major schools, you don't see guys that play there too. You don't see that. That's not normal. So that's another thing that was really attractive for me. That guys that played here and they didn't have no reason to lie to me or say anything. Like it's not like they're getting any benefit from it. Like they're really just, it's a real family. It's a real love, and it's a great culture. So that really attracted me here. Really attracted me here.
I've been following the program for a few years because Michael Almonacci, I don't know if you're familiar with him. He played that.
I met him on my visit. Yeah.
So he's a New York guy. So I've watched him since he was in high school. He's like a couple hours from me. And I was always wondering like why he went to Appalachian State, because he had a bunch of offers. But obviously, from what you're telling me, the insider, it makes sense why someone would come there. You know what I mean? Coming from New York, that's a hike, but it seems like the culture there is crazy. So transition to the next question. Obviously, you've done everything on an individual level, D2, All-American, just averaging 20 points per game. So what is it with Appalachian State next year in the Sun Belt that you are focusing on, like your mindset to be successful, stay successful like that at the Division I level now? Is there a vision for what you want to bring to the program in your 1 year of eligibility?
Man, like I said, I've been playing college basketball for a long time. So, one of the biggest things is leadership. This is we got a good group of guys. We got a good, like, veteran group of guys. We got a really good mix. Some guys that, a lot of guys on the team that they were part of that team that won the Sun Belt. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they know what it takes to win. We got guys that are coming, to the program that are winners. You know what I mean? So that's a huge part. So just leadership and, just bringing my abilities to the table, just gelling with the guys and, figuring out each other, how we're going to play with each other and all that kind of thing. And, that's what we're in the process of doing now, just getting acclimated with each other. And man, just win. That's the big deal. That's what we, that's what we aim for. So just putting all of us together in the same, in the same setting, like, man, we've been having a great time so far. So
definitely. This one's from Trevor. So on top of being an incredible athlete, this is word for word, you're also an honor roll student. How do you balance work and basketball, and what are you hoping to do with your degree after basketball? Well, you're going to play pro, I know you are, but like later on down the road, 20 years, like what degree do you have right now, and how are you planning on using it?
Right. So I have my bachelor's in management. It's in business management, and I minored in marketing. So, but with business, like you kind of go through everything. Like you have to take classes of accounting, like finance, and the whole nine. So I kind of got a background, a little bit of all that kind of stuff. So, for me, I really I'm into trucks. I like trucking, like the 18-wheelers, like the sprinters, like all that kind of stuff. Like, I have a really, really like huge, like I've been thinking about that a lot. Like I'm really interested. I have a huge interest in it. So I kind of want to go on that route. I like real estate too. I got some people that, do real estate that have been successful with that. So I kind of want to get with them and, learn how to that realm of things too. So probably those two things most likely is what I'm going to do with it.
So you have plenty of options. That's good.
Oh, definitely.
Couple more questions. We'll get you out of here. I know you're probably a busy dude. Couple easy ones.
All right.
So you were number 11 at Union. Donovan Gregory has that number now. When you came there, was there any conversation about kind of stealing that from him, or is that a no-go?
No, so that's my guy. I love Don. So I saw that he had 11, but you know, back in my high school, I went to Kenwood High School. So we were black and gold, we were the Knights. But when I was in high school, I wore 30.
Okay.
So I'm like, you know, how cool would it be to go back to that number with the black and
Same
gold?
colors,
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
Was it-
so I wasn't tripping about 11. He could have that. I mean, he the man here. He got a ring and everything.
Yeah.
Don the man. So, you know, I'm gonna rock 30 this year. That's how I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, for sure. That was the second part of the question. I was wondering if the number 30 had anything to do with like Steph Curry.
I mean, a little bit,
A
a little bit. It sure do. It does a little bit.
Yeah. So you're from Clarksville, Tennessee. How far is that from Nashville?
It's like 40, 45 minutes. This is right there off the interstate, I-24.
Yeah. I was gonna say I saw it on the map. It looked pretty close to Nashville. Are you a Titans fan?
I really don't see. Look, don't be mad at me. I'm really not a football guy.
Okay.
I'm not a big football guy. Like, for me, it's all basketball. Like,
Right. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if I had to be a fan, I would rock with the Titans. I mean, it's right there. It's you know, my whole time. But my dad is from Detroit.
Oh, okay.
So anything Detroit, it don't matter how, like, he Lions, Michigan State, like, you know what I mean? Like he all Detroit. So like, growing up, we you know, we obviously go off of what he go off of. So I rock with all Detroit too.
Okay, that's respectable. Favorite basketball shoe?
Favorite basketball shoe?
All time. You can only wear one shoe the rest of your career. What is it going to be?
It has to be Kobe's. It has to be Kobe's. I'm gonna go with. I think I 10. Kobe 10s.
Kobe 10s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Them they felt the best on my feet, and I mean, I played pretty good. I wore them the game I had 48. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'd be wearing them every game then.
Yeah, they feel pretty good on me.
It's got to be good luck. Last one, and we'll get you out of here. One defender in the NBA right now, if you could splash a three or score on them, one defender, who would it be? Who do you want to score on?
I mean, I got to go with Marcus Smart. He was Defensive Player of the Year. Why not go with the toughest guy? I'm going with him.
I like that answer.
I'll go Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday?
Because I think he's another guard that like if I wasn't gonna give it to Marcus Smart, I'm giving it to him.
Okay, yeah.
So
are you a smack talker?
I say a couple things here and there.
Every hooper's got to be like, if you say no, you're kind of lying a little bit. So.
Oh yeah, yes. It's you gotta you know, it's how players communicate. You know what I mean? Like it's just how players communicate and fill each other out. Like it's not always people make it out like. A lot of people make it more than what it is. Like sometimes it's just, you know, it's really just a competition. Like we going back and forth, we drawing a little bit, but it's all within the game. It's a natural.
All about energy. Yeah. And I was gonna say it's natural, just in the flow of the game for sure. All right, bro. I appreciate you joining me. Best of luck next year. Hope you guys win the Sun Belt. And if you're gonna get close to 50, I want you to try to score. Like, they can't sub you out.
I got you, man. Thank you for having me.
Of course, anytime. And I know now that you're at the Division I level, like the stat tracking is probably going to be a little bit better. So definitely got to get that in your earpiece that you're close to 50.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sounds Seriously, good. Best of luck in the future, Tyree. Appreciate you joining me.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Of course.